My heart skips skipping the beat. You're not close enough, so that space between you and me, let's lose it. The way you're dancing, swaying to the music, girl, that body and how you move it. Every time you cross my mind, girl, I lose it.
Alexa, play the Country Heat playlist.
Okay.
I don't think you know what you're doing to me. You got my...
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Good day to you. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to this podcast. This is Molly McCord, and thank you for joining me as we gather to talk about the current astrology energies and what might be coming up for you in your own world. This is the Wednesday show where we talk specifically about astrology, what's happening with the planets, and what they are doing, how they are in conversation with each other right now, and how you might be feeling it. I have a few announcements that I want to share with you as we get started in today's show, and then we're going to move into talking about the upcoming equinox. The equinox happens twice a year, and it is now the halfway point in the zodiac when the Sun in Virgo moves into the Sun in Libra. This happens exactly on September 22nd at 9:54 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, so adjust to your time zone and location. Again, September 22nd. And it is an important energy shift. And we're going to talk about what that means in this show because I want to support you in making the most of it and in honoring what you need to do for yourself as we pass the halfway mark of the astrological calendar. So I have a few quick housekeeping and new messages to share with you before we dive in to the astrology. The first message is that next Monday, I'm going to do a special show about Jupiter in Sagittarius. And I'm going to talk about what it's going to be about, what that energy shift means. It's going to be welcomed. Believe me, you're going to be feeling it. It'll be like you're finally out of the depths and the fears and the emotional intensity of Jupiter in Scorpio. So we're going to talk about that coming up next Monday, and I believe that will be the 22nd. So that's going to be a special show focused all on Jupiter and Sag, what it means in your chart, and also the other energies that are coming up here, the other cycles that are in play, and we're going to make some important connections about that. Next Wednesday, and that is September 24th, I'm going to have a new free book for you to download. Obviously, one of my books. I can't give away other people's books for free, but it'll be one of my books. And that's actually, the 26th. Wednesday, September 26th is when you will be able to download the next free book, and I'll be announcing that on that show. But I just want to give you a heads up because there's only 5 days that you can download a book for free. So that will be starting September 26th until September 30th. For those of you who have reached out to me, I am so grateful to work with you and to assist you. Amazing people that I get to connect with, and I love doing these one-on-one sessions. For those of you who email me with questions, some have given me wrong email addresses, or you haven't completed your email address completely, and so my response to you wasn't sent. So please enter email addresses accurately. My calendar is accurate. There are no more openings. There are no more dates. It's booked usually 4 to 6 weeks out. I'm not hiding any appointments. That's all that there is, so there's no need to ask me if there's anything earlier because there is not. And I am putting together a new offer for you to help more people with their astrology chart. And I'm not going to start that in September or October because of where I live, which is Florida, which is hurricane season. I get the past 2 years we've had to evacuate for hurricanes, so I'm not going to increase my workload during hurricane season. And I also have, I'm hosting a retreat in October, and I have visitors. So I'm at a very busy time of the year, but as soon as I have time, I'm going to introduce to you this new way of understanding your own astrology chart. So that is in the works, and it'll be coming to you soon. And then for those who do want to learn their astrology chart on their own, I offer an Introductory Astrology Course. It's 6 classes. It's on demand. It's been getting rave reviews, and I'm so glad it helps people. So you can find information about that below this video or on my website. And I also offer a weekly course about the universal spiritual laws. And this is a course that I first started in 2011. And it focuses on the 12 universal spiritual laws, which is your energy, which is your power. And most people don't understand what they're working with or what it looks like. So that's another offer that I have for you, too, because this is a time of mastery. This is a time of looking at all of your energy and how it affects what you are manifesting, what you are experiencing, and how to make powerful changes. So that course is also available to you, too, and it is below this video or podcast. Now, as we move through the last few degrees of the Sun in Virgo, as I do this show, the Sun is at 26 degrees of Virgo, and actually the Moon is at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Both of these are earth signs, and they are very purposeful. They are matter of fact. They look to create, to get things done, to take care of business. This is a very driven energy. And we also have Mercury at 25 degrees of Virgo. So the planets right now are really allowing us to be taking care of our business, taking care of our life, of our responsibilities, of how we show up and how we take care of everything that maybe we didn't have energy for or we weren't sure if we could handle the details of it. There's support right now for being productive. And I hope that you're feeling that. There's also strong mental energies that are happening at this time with the Sun and Mercury conjunct in Virgo. And if you'll recall, we had a big Mercury retrograde this summer, and now Mercury is finally catching up to the Sun after being behind the Sun. And what this means is that Mercury is coming forward to give new information, to provide new solutions, to give new understandings. It's also a time of having conversations, sharing information that maybe you've been holding in or you weren't sure when to say it or what to say. This gives you clarity. This is that, okay, this is what I need to express. And in Virgo, it's very matter of fact. It can be very much about the facts, the details, the specifics of what you've been thinking about, what's been coming up for you. So it's a really good time to look at having important conversations, be it with your spouse or partner or perhaps someone at work or a friend, because there's a sense of, I just need to say something. Now, the Virgo energy can be perfectionistic. It can be critical. It can be like having a really high bar that no one could possibly reach. So you do have to assess yourself and say, well, is what I'm sharing, practical and realistic for the other person? But this is about really looking at what you need to express or say. It strengthens the throat chakra. It strengthens the parts of you that maybe you weren't quite sure how the puzzle pieces fit together. Well, Virgo is a wonderful expert at puzzles and bringing the pieces together, and the mental focus and the mental stamina to get things done. So it's a very productive week overall, and it's going to continue until the Sun goes into Libra. Again, that's on September 22nd. And this could just be a sense of I need to get things done. Like this week, you could have been feeling that. And just to touch on the Moon is moving through the final degrees of Capricorn right now. It's trining the Sun. It's trining Mercury. That means there's flow and ease. There's support. There's that sense of stability, and I'm just going to focus on what's in front of me and get it done. And whenever the Moon is in its final degrees, you could feel it as that completion energy and the finishing up energy. And the same is happening right now with the sun. So there's this completion of what do I need to wrap up, what do I need to focus on, and I want to make progress, and maybe something isn't completely done, but you've made headway and you have more of a sense of this is where I'm going, and this is what I need to continue to commit to and to focus on just to stay in that groove, too, of being productive. So it's quite a good week for work and really honing in on the specifics of your life. Now, in the mix right now, we have the energy of Mars back in Aquarius at 2 degrees, and Mars is about to go conjunct over the South Node and will be squaring Venus in Scorpio, and has been squaring Uranus in Taurus. Now, I talked a lot about this energy in Monday's show, so I don't want to be too repetitive, but essentially the way that I'm interpreting this energy at a soul level, at an energetic level, is the understanding that you really are ready to let things go from your experiences, from your soul level experiences energetically. And I talked about in Monday's show about how that means that we need to be releasing and ending vows, pledges, allegiances, and promises that we've made to other people that originated in other energy forms and other energy intentions. And the visual that I have for you about this is, imagine a building. And you went into the building and you went up to the second floor. And on that second floor is where you made a commitment with somebody, a vow. They were going to help you learn. They were going to help you heal. They brought something for you to work through. And then you continued up to the next level, the next few floors, and you got to the fourth floor. And you've expanded, you've learned more, and you're like, you know what, I have to keep going down to the second floor to continue to work something out with this person. And it's exhausting because there's so many flights of stairs you have to go up and down just to go back down to that second floor and then back up. So the visual is that there's these vows that we energetically made at lower energy levels. Now, I don't say that with any judgment because every energy level brings us lessons and information, and we all go through them at different paces and speeds. But you feel like you keep having to go back to something that you don't want to keep going back to. Well, that's where you understand that I'm really complete with that. And the astrology right now of these fixed signs, the fixed energies, the planets that are in these fixed signs are saying something's got to give, something's got to change, and maybe you've been resisting the change. But now it's time to break the bonds, cut the cords, set yourself free. So there you are up on the fourth floor, and you're saying, okay, I can only go down to the second floor one more time. So you go down back to the second floor, and you cancel and complete what you no longer want to be committed to. And then you go back up to the fourth floor, okay? And then you keep going up, all right? You keep going up to, say, the sixth floor, the seventh floor, eighth floor, choose your floor. Well, that lesson that you were learning with that person stays with you. So you then get off at the eighth floor, and let's say that the lesson is about dealing with authority, or like they were your boss, or they are your father, or they are your manager. There's something about the authority role, okay? And you broke that vow with them, that one person on the second floor. Well, now that lesson stays with you. And you go up to the sixth floor, eighth floor, and that lesson is still with you to learn, to heal, to master. But now you're going to do it with somebody else or in a different situation. So the who can change. Who you work the lesson out with can change. The how can change. You can change jobs and have to work through the same authority issue. It stays with you that you have to work through this issue, this energy, but it changes in terms of the who and the how. Because now you're at the 8th floor, but you have a new awareness around what you're learning, what you're healing, what you're working through, and you understand that, okay, this is for my mastery, this is something that I really want to approach in a new way. Perhaps you're more conscious, you're more open-hearted, and now that you're at the 8th floor, you're like, okay, I'm in this new situation where I'm working through authority, but I'm going to do it faster and with more grace, and I don't have to keep going back down to the 2nd floor. So I wanted to give you that visual, because as you keep growing, the lesson stays with you to learn, but you can change who you work through it with and how that happens. And so you can work through the lesson up at the 8th floor, which could be easier. You could just be more willing to learn it. But that's what I'm feeling so strongly about this energy. And something's got to give. It's got to break up. It's got to bust out. And I also did a show for you specifically focusing on the Venus retrograde. That is also a YouTube video. And that's to help you see what the Venus retrograde is going to be working with us to clear as we move through the rest of this year. So this is big stuff shifting, but that's what mastery is about. That's what soul growth is about, is that it's really moving through what you're ready to elevate within yourself and around you. So it's all connected, of course, and that's how this stuff shows up. So understand that you always have power over your energy, around how to make choices, around how you want to learn, because you can make a declaration that, okay, I'm ready to master this lesson, this area of energy in the most powerful, graceful way with ease and kindness. You can say that. And that will change then the types of experiences you have around that lesson. And it's, again, these lower levels of consciousness where we took these vows and these pledges to learn something. But when you really ascend into your full mastery, you understand, well, I can still learn this and heal this, but I'm going to choose to do it on the 8th floor instead of the 2nd floor. So that's part of what is coming up right now. And it's a big thing because this Mars energy is going to trigger that powerful lunar eclipse back on July 26th, 27th, which is all about busting out, letting go, and being complete. You know, I want to recognize that the fixed signs have been getting a lot of energies lately that have been destabilizing. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And these are the energies that have been experiencing the biggest eclipse dynamics since last year, since 2017. It's where the Venus retrograde is happening. It's where the Mercury retrograde was happening. It's where the Mars retrograde was happening. It was in all these fixed signs. Mercury retrograde was in Leo. Venus retrograde is in Scorpio, and the Mars retrograde was in Aquarius. Not to mention how Uranus in Taurus is shaking up a lot within us too. So the fixed signs are doing what they hate to do, which is change. They don't want change. They want routine, and what can I rely on, and this is what I'm going to do, and don't make me budge. And yet there is a really deep energy here on multiple levels that's signaling the change has to happen. And you're ready. And if you can just go with it and not give in to the fear, you're going to arrive at a new place of stability, a new place of grounding. So know that if you have a lot of planets in the fixed signs, planets or points, you probably just felt so jarred, and it's just felt scary at times. But understand that this is where the universe, God, Creator, is actually supporting you and helping you level up, helping you elevate. Because you might not know, like you've been somewhere for so long that you might not even see the mold that's accumulated or the dust that's settled because you've become too comfortable. So it's really clear with these retrograde planets in the fixed signs, with the eclipses and the fixed signs, it's time to move that rolling stone. It's time to move things along so that you can really feel strong in a new foundation and a new energy that is even more you right now. So that's a big deal. And change is the name of the game, of course, with all the awakening energies that are going on. And I just want to share with you an amazing person that I was able to connect with in a session recently. And he and I were talking about his who he is and looking at it in terms of his career. And I didn't know what he did professionally, but he was really curious about his astrology chart. And so I was reading it, and we were talking about, transits and everything, and then finally it was like, well, what do you do professionally? Well, it turns out he's a reverend. And he's been in his church for 30 years. And he recently has discovered other ways of understanding spirituality. And of course, when he told me he was a reverend, I was like, "Oh, I'm really surprised you're talking to me." and he's a lovely man, and so kind, and was like, "Yeah, there's a lot of people in my world that I can't tell them that I talk to you," and I was so excited about how lit up his energy was in understanding the different ways of looking at a spiritual path. Because when you've been following and studying something for 30 years, that's significant. And so he was having an awakening. And this is why, my friends, never underestimate the power of people growing and seeing things differently or expanding, because it's happening, and it happens privately, right? And you tell some people and you don't tell some people. But this gentleman is a reverend, and he is looking at what needs to change for him spiritually to move forward on his path and to maybe connect with other people and to keep expanding. So it's quite amazing that people maybe connect with astrology whenever and however it shows up for them, but it has to come from within. It's within ourselves that we become more curious, or we feel the nudges to just look at things a little differently. But it's happening, and it is happening for many people. So I feel like that's important to understand, is that you just never know who might be interested or open to a new way of thinking about the world, and that it's part of this bigger awakening adventure that we are all on. And it is quite big, isn't it? So as we move through this week, the sun moves from Virgo into Libra. And again, this is called the Equinox, and it means equal days, equal day, equal night, equal light, equal dark. And the equinox is a time of balance, and is a time of balance within you. So if you were looking for one way to honor the equinox on September 22nd, it might feel right for you to just be in silence, to be quiet, to listen to your thoughts and your intuition, to listen to your messages and what is important for you to hear right now. I mean, think about how busy we all are. We always have screens in front of us. We're all married to our phones. We're all so busy. And we just need that time for our minds to breathe. And as we've moved through the first 6 energies of the zodiac, from Aries to Virgo, these are the first 6 energies of self-identity and self-growth, self-development. So Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are associated with your self-identity, how you identify yourself, your values, and how you think. Then Cancer is about how you feel. Leo is about your creativity and how you express yourself. And then Virgo is about your service and your work. So these are the first 6 energies of the zodiac that are about establishing your sense of self. And what you've learned, what you've come to understand in this current cycle since March 20th, 21st, which was the last equinox. And so this is why it's a balance point of looking at how you've grown, what has changed for you. Of course, it's been a wild ride with the eclipses and retrogrades. But this is a time of understanding that a lot of the past 6 months have been about your own self. And as the sun moves from Virgo into Libra, well, Virgo is also the time of harvest. It's when the crops come up to be picked, the corn is ready to be taken off the stalk, and then we take it to market to sell it. And when we take something out, that is Libra. That's the transition from Virgo to Libra, is that you've been doing this work, you've been understanding parts of yourself, now you take it out to share. And Libra is about the cooperation and collaboration, how we work with others. It is buying and selling. It is negotiations. And so for you, specifically in your chart, this transition happens this time of year, and it's where you're meant to move energetically from what you've held within to bringing it out. And that can be through conversations, through business matters, through family, through work. I mean, there's so many ways that can show up. And it's understanding that the Libra energy is ready to share, and it wants to get feedback, and it wants to look for win-wins, and it's very it's objective, and it is meant to be that reminder that we're not supposed to go it all alone. And so the transition into Libra energies is where we also open up. We open up. Libra is an air sign, so it is about talking, sharing. It's about saying what you need to say, writing, being able to look at something objectively. Libra is often associated with relationships, but it's actually about dating. It's about the people you date, the people you go public with, the people you hang out with. If you're talking about marriage, that's actually Capricorn, which is where you make a commitment for the long term. People think that Libra is marriage. Libra is where you just start dating. You get to know somebody. You understand who they are through the dating experience, and you choose if you want to keep dating them. Libra is also associated with giving and receiving, and looking at that within yourself, because that is what is mirrored back to you in your relationships and in the people you spend time with. So there's this reassessing with Libra of, okay, I'm giving this to our relationship. Am I receiving in return? Am I the one who reaches out all the time? Am I the one who always texts them or always emails them and they don't email me back? It's that kind of assessing objectively of, are we equally invested in this connection, in this agreement? Libra energy is also associated with your open enemies. And we don't talk about that very much, but it's the people who don't like you. Isn't that interesting? But it's true. Libra is the people who don't like you, but who you don't like. And it's funny because as you dig deeper into that, I mean, there's also projection with Libra. You project. You say, oh, well, you're unconsciously projecting yourself onto someone else, or they are projecting onto you. So it's where the energy leaves you and your own sense of self, and it begins to mingle and interact with other people. Just like you harvest the corn and you take the corn to market, well, you say, this is the cost of the corn, and people are like, well, I don't like your price. I can go down to the next stall and get a better price. And you're like, okay, go ahead. I mean, it's kind of that sense of how you engage with people. And then there's people who show up and it's like, you have the best corn ever. I'm only going to buy from you. So you meet all kinds of people with the Libra energy because you're expanding your world. You're moving from the internal and taking it out. And that's when you find people that you don't have things in common with. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is our values. And that's where you disagree. And that's where you say, I don't think I agree with how you think about something, or I don't agree with how you talk about it. Libra tries to maintain civility. It tries to maintain some decorum. Libra does care how it appears. In social situation, it is actually quite a savvy. Libra's savvy with relationships and what looks good and how you talk to somebody and what you don't say. All the things you don't say just to maintain a civil interaction or just to maintain a good conversation at the dinner table. Libra would be the one who says, well, you don't talk about politics or religion or civil rights at the dinner table because you want to be kind to people. You don't want to go into the arguments. Now, when you go into Scorpio is like, oh, we're going all in with what I believe is right and what my opinions are and what I'm passionate about. But in Libra, just be cool. Libra's like, just be neutral. And so Libra doesn't like to rock the boat, and there's pros and cons with that. Because you could be maintaining the peace, but at what expense? Or you could be maintaining an appearance, but at what expense? So there's also a part of Libra that can be superficial because it is aware of what other people think, what other people are saying, or what they see. It can be superficial, and that doesn't mean it's the intention, but it's part of trying to maintain a certain neutrality or trying to even maintain the sense of, well, I don't want to make a big case for myself. I don't want to get into my opinions or what I really think. I want to maintain the relationship. So we move into that energy. As the sun moves from Virgo, where you've been working and focusing and in your own space and taking care of your needs, you've also been perhaps working for other people because Virgo is where we work for something bigger than ourselves. You're working on your body, which is for you, but you're working on your health for the long term. Virgo is where we're really, focused on things, and then you look up and you say, oh, yeah, I could go out to happy hour after work, or I could go do something enjoyable and social on the weekends. I don't have to work every day all the time. And the Libra energy is where we, again, get out of our own smaller spaces and start to meet more people. Now, this is also where we have to make decisions and choices because your energy can only go so many places at a time. The sun is going to trine Mars, and when it does that, it gives you that boost, that sense of it's really activating what you want to do, what you want to go for. That will happen. The sun is going to make a trine to Mars in Aquarius it'll actually be next weekend, the end of September. Sorry, the dates just disappeared. September 28th, Friday and Saturday. 28th, 29th. If you have any plans for the end of September, you might just feel social. You might feel ready to go, ready to start something new. And whenever the sun and Mars meet up in a healthy trine, it's a kick-starting energy. So we're building to that. It's like there's a building up here of if you've had too much going on, like you felt too cut off from things or in your own world, there's a sense of now I'm ready to get back out into the world, to start something new, to move it forward. So that's coming up here as the sun moves into Libra and gives us a jump start as well. Now, the sun moving into Libra is going to be interesting because, like I said, Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is going to be retrograde. So, when Venus stations retrograde in October, that will be October 6th, you'll feel it in how you want to interact with people and who you want to interact with, because the retrograde energy brings us inward. And Venus in Scorpio can be quite private at times too. She has her secrets. She has her privacy. Like, there's things that she'll only say to certain people or only express to certain people. And this energy of the retrograde means that maybe I don't want to be overly committed to other people. I don't want to socialize too much. So I think it's going to be interesting here when Venus goes retrograde, because she rules the sun in Libra. And she's going to rule how the sun in Libra will feel supported or not. So it's quite a dynamic energy. And it could be that there's times when you feel social or times that you don't. It brings up money issues. It brings up looking at what you are working with to heal within yourself that perhaps you've been triggered by. And it gives you that sense of maybe even needing to retreat to honor the Venus in Scorpio retrograde. So it's really going to be in October that shift happens. And we have some time. We still have time until October arrives. I'd just like to give you a heads up because it's a pretty big thing when the sun is ruled by a retrograde planet and the planet, Venus is not comfortable in Scorpio. So there's a discomfort there. There's a sense of suspicion of who can I trust, who do I don't trust. Money becomes more important. We'll talk about that as we get into October. But just a heads up around how the energies will be shifting. Now, as we move here into the equinox, there's a sense of balancing your body, balancing your energy, balancing your ability to be objective and to look at things from a different perspective that you didn't see before. And that's what Libra offers. It's the other side of the coin, the other side of the story. And remember, Mercury and the sun are traveling together. So there's more information that comes forward. There's more details, more things you just didn't know. And it's meant to be beneficial. And I get the image too of Mercury. He's quite fast moving, and so he kind of does a pass off to the sun of like, hey, did you hear about this? Gotta go. Or hey, don't forget about this. And then you didn't see this, or this is new, but I gotta keep running because Mercury likes to move fast. And so that exact conjunction between the sun and Mercury happens on Thursday. That is September 20th. It also happens on Friday, the 21st, and then even on Saturday, the 22nd. So there's just this strong energy of Mercury and the sun still in cahoots, like really on the same page about what's important, what needs to be done. And I keep coming back to that because you're meant to realize something for yourself right before the equinox. And what I'm feeling is that it's been something building that you've already been feeling, that you've already been sensing or perceiving, and it just clicks. And you're like, I get it. And you're like, it's that, or it's this. It's like, that's the direction, that's the path, that's the answer. That's what's partly building here until the equinox, is the clarity around the next 6 months until the next equinox of what matters and what doesn't. Because you can't carry everything. And the energy of Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn have been reminding you that you're really responsible only for yourself. And if you put down what you've been carrying for other people and you put down what you don't have to keep holding, think about how much lighter you feel, how much clearer and cleaner. Now, Pluto is going to station retrograde at 18 degrees Capricorn on September 30th. So Pluto's moving slow. He always moves slow, but he's like extra slow. And that means you're really grinding in. It's at that 18-degree mark, grinding in to something that you're never going to visit again in this lifetime. If you have any planets or points that are being triggered by Pluto at 18 degrees, you're really meant to get clear and firm and solid and transform. It's a transformative energy. It's a no going back around something in you that you have to let go of because you can't carry it all and you don't want to. But there's a sense of if you're not working with it consciously, you could have felt burdened by certain responsibilities because Capricorn's very responsible. And so this energy of Pluto slowing down for the rest of this month is significant. Now, Pluto is going to station direct at 18 degrees, and then this is a very powerful energy here when Pluto stations direct and goes forward, because the energy is going to keep going forward into new territory next February, March, and April. Pluto's going to go to 23 degrees, which is fast for Pluto. So that's why something really has to be over. If this energy is working with you personally, it's showing you the transformation is essential. It's necessary, and it can be hard. It really can. But Pluto is not going to be back at 18 or 19 degrees again. Next year, Pluto will be working between 20 degrees and 23 degrees of Capricorn. So the energy signature is that anything at 18 and 19 degrees, it's got to transform, it's got to go, it's got to be over. Take care of it. Take care of business. It's a sense of step up because of the Capricorn responsibility. Like you step up and you do the work. You step up and do what needs to happen. And when we don't do that is when things get tougher. So there's a sense here that you've been working through something that could have felt really deep, really emotional, really painful, really hard. And that's because the soul growth is happening, that sense of you're really stepping into the new territory and you're really meant to let go of these things that aren't really in your power. Pluto and Capricorn is power dynamics, and it's how you perceive them within yourself. It's how you work with them within yourself, and it's how you're meant to move it forward to a higher place of consciousness, and that is meant to like lift you up, right? It elevates you up to this new place of understanding your energy, your potentials, and where you're going next. So as we round out September, there's some clear messages here, and as we approach the equinox, there's clear messages. So over the next week, keep your ears perked, your mind keen, and your intuition strong around what you no longer need to concern yourself with, what is done, what you're really like sayonara, peace out, see you again, never. That's what it is. See you again, never. And if you can trust that, it's not easy, but if you can keep trusting it, that's when the brand new manifestations will show up that are even better, that match where you're going and who you are. So, my friends, thank you for joining me. I'll be back next Monday, and that's the 24th, with the special on Jupiter in Sagittarius. So much to share with you in that show. And until then, I wish you a beautiful equinox. I hope you have some silence, some reflection, some time to balance your energy, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Ken, and I own Good Start Packaging in Bedford, New Hampshire. With my Spark Cash Card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on all my business purchases. And last year, that added up to $36,000 in cash back. That's right, $36,000. Thanks to that, I was able to offer healthcare to my employees. The Spark Cash Card did a lot for my business. Imagine what it could do for yours. What's in your wallet?
Real Capital One customers paid for real stories. Credit approval required.
It's maybe the night that my dreams might let me know. All the stars are closer. All the stars are closer.
Tell me what you gonna do to me. Confrontation ain't nothing new to me. You could bring a bullet, bring a sword, bring a morgue, but you can't bring the truth to me.
Alexa, play Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
Okay.
Maybe the night that my dreams might let me know. All the stars are closer.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.